Hello, welcome to the Crazy Motel. My name's Conan. In today's video, I'm going to show you one of the ways that you can get your bass to cut through the mix so that it's audible on speakers that are not so good, i.e. phone speakers, etc. Let's jump in. Now, I'm not going to go into too much science today. I'm going to explain things in layman's terms would be the phrase that we would use in the UK. But what I do want to say before I get into it is I like to explain the concepts and the thought processes behind the techniques that I show people, because I want them to be able to translate it to real world situations. If I show you a particular kick drum or a particular bass line or a particular synth and show you how to process it, that's only going to work on that particular synth, kick drum, etc. So by explaining the actual process and the thought process behind it, the reasons why I do these particular things in this technique, hopefully it will set you up so that you can use it in real world situations on any sound that you want to use it on. So I just wanted to explain that very quickly. So today I'm going to show you one of the ways of getting bass to cut through the mix. Things like 808 basses, sub basses, those kind of things, because they tend to only have low frequency information, and that kind of information doesn't translate very well on iPhones, Android phones, etc., or just not very good Bluetooth speakers. I'm trying so hard not to say the word shit, but I said it, so there you go. I'm going to show you how to get bass to cut through the mix so that it can be heard on shit speakers. There you go. Blunt Conan at his best. So it's just one of the techniques. It's not definitive. It's an age-old technique. It's a technique that's been used for a long, long time, but I'm going to show you how to do it in the MPC Standalone. Now, at a very, very basic level, it is taking your bass sound and adding distortion, adding saturation to it. And what that does is it will introduce harmonics into the sound. So you don't just have the low fundamental of the bass drum, kick drum, bass drum. Oh God, I haven't called it a bass drum since the 70s. Kick drum and your bass line, etc. So it's kind of almost inventing frequencies which will then make it audible on speakers that don't have the ability to translate low frequencies. I'm trying to say this in the simplest way possible, but basically it introduces harmonics. Like I said, don't want to go into too much science. So by adding distortion, a distortion plugin, a clipping plugin, a saturation plugin, you're going to help your bass cut through the mix. But there's a couple of other things that I do in my technique. Again, I didn't invent them. They're things that I've picked up over the years from other sound engineers. But you can do them in the MPC and it really, really will help your bass cut through the mix. Okay, so I've got a 4-bar loop that I wrote very, very quickly into the MPC to demonstrate this. It's just kind of like a slow, new soul kind of beat. So just some drums, a Rhodes piano, and the bass line. Now, the bass line, if we just listen, I will say this: if you're listening on headphones or on good speakers, you'll be able to hear the low end. If you are listening on shit speakers, you're not going to be able to, and you'll hear the effect that I've added to it to help the bass cut through the mix. But what I'm going to show you is I'm going to take that effect off and show you the bass line without. So if you're listening on shit speakers, you're probably just not going to hear anything but drums and a Rhodes. So there's the bass. What I've done, by the way, is I've bounced it onto an audio sample rather than playing it in because it just makes it easier. And I'll explain why in a second. So let's just listen to the bass in solo. So you can hear there's a little bit of distortion, a little bit of flavor on there. Now, if I go into the effects and turn off all the effects, on that one, yep, and actually let's take that off. And on this one, and I'll go through the process. So what I've basically done, that's the original bass line, which you're not going to hear if you're listening on not very good speakers. You might just hear a little bit because there is a little bit of low mid information on there. Okay. And then what I've done is I've copied that pad using the copy technique where you hit that and then you choose it on there, and I've put it onto this one. So you have it twice. Okay, now on the main bass line, actually, is it going to be easier if I show you what I do on the top end bit first? Yeah, it is. Okay, so I've separated the bass into two sections, and what I basically want to do is this one on A1, I want to just keep the low end, and on this one, this is where I want to add the saturation, etc. Now, the reason why I split it up is you have a lot more control over it. And if I show you exactly what I've done on this one, you'll understand. So the first thing I've done is I've added tube drive. So immediately you can hear there's some distortion on there. But I want a bit more control over that. I'm in tube drive, you can see I've driven it quite hard, changed the headroom, and I've added maximum saturation. And that's absolutely fine, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend that into the original bass line, kind of in a parallel way. So the next thing I've done is I've added a filter. Now the reason I've done that is because I want to get rid of some of the fizz. So there's a lot of fizz going on in there, there's a lot of harmonics. So by bringing this down, I'm getting rid of some of it, and that was done in context. I did that in the mix. I didn't just do it in solo. I found kind of, you know, I just wanted to roll the highs, that it's the real kind of, there is a bit of sizzle in there that I can hear on these headphones. So I wanted to get rid of that, giving it a little bit of resonance. But then what I've done is on another filter, I've completely got rid Now you can barely hear that, but what I've done there is I've rolled off all the lows with a high pass filter. So let's just go through it again. Tube drive, actually I'll just play this rather than hit play. That's adding your saturation. Then I've added a low pass filter to take off some of the sizzle. And then I've added a high pass filter to get rid of the low end. Now the reason why I've got rid of the low end is because I don't need the low end, because I have the low end on this one. What I've done with this one, I hope you're following this, is I've just added a filter here. Now what I can do, I haven't actually done it yet, but what I could do is I could completely roll off the highs, just in case there is any high information at all. What I'm hearing, this is a bassline off a Moog, Mini Moog. I can hear a tiny little bit of attack at the start of the bassline sound. So by using the low pass filter, I'm just getting rid of that. It just makes it a bit rounder, basically. So with them together, that one you can barely hear. And that one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into pad mix. Okay, I'm going to bring the high-end saturation part out, and I'm going to gradually blend it in. So if you listen to it without, and then I'll gradually bring it in, and you'll hear the bass come through, especially if you're listening on not very good speakers. But even if you are listening on good speakers, you've got that low end there, but you'll start hearing that kind of sizzle come through. So there you have it. I hope that you followed that, because I did kind of go through it quite quickly. But if I just sum things up, I basically took a Mini Moog bass line that just had a whole load of low end information. I bounced it to a pad so that it was an audio sample. I then copied that pad so that I could have a version where I was just going to have high-end saturation on it and a version that just had total low-end information for that oomph. So on the low-end one, I rolled off any kind of highs there was on that all the way down to, I think it was about 2 kilohertz, something like that. But literally what I was doing then was really just rolling off the attack from the original Moog sound. Then with the other version that I bounced, I added some saturation with tube drive, really maxed it out. Didn't matter that I was maxing it out because I was going to blend it in parallel with the original low version. I then added a low pass filter just to get rid of some of the sizzle because I didn't want too much and I wanted some control over those harmonics. So by adding the first filter, I could get rid of some of that sizzle and bring it down a little bit. I think I took it down to around about, actually, do you know what? I can't remember, but I'm guessing 6K, something like that, just to get rid of some of, actually it was about 5K, I think it was, getting rid of some of the sizzle. And then with the next filter, I used a high pass filter and just got rid of all of the low end. The reason why I didn't want the low end there is because I already had the low end on the other bass. So I hope that summarized kind of makes sense. But basically the idea is that you're just adding saturation, distortion to the low end frequencies and you're introducing harmonics, and that just helps it cut through the mix and helps it translate to systems that are shit, that are not very good speakers, i.e. iPhone, Android, Bluetooth speakers, etc. So I hope you followed that. I guess it's a video, so you can always go back and rewatch it in slow motion. So thanks for watching. This is the Craig's Motel. My name's Conan. Till next time.